let's just go for it, right? Let's just go for
Yep.
it. Hello, everybody. This is Cristina Lorefice here, and today I'm Zooming with Gary Ramsey. Gary, thank you so much for joining me today from New York. And you have been introduced to me via an incredible author, Anita Murjani, who wrote the book Dying to Be Me. And so we want to thank Anita, and I hope that one day Anita will be here also when she has time. I think her schedule is pretty busy, but we trust that she will. And I want to thank you, Gary, for being here, because I've heard that you have an incredible story, miraculous story of healing to share with us. And so I don't even feel obliged to ask you questions, because I already know that when you will tell the story, it'll answer a lot of questions. And that really, in a nutshell, you were a death sentence. Doctor said you were gonna die, right?
That is correct.
So
yes.
Please go ahead and share your healing story with the world. I really would like to hear it.
Excellent. So yes, I was diagnosed here in the New York City area with a cancer of kidney, so renal cell cancer. But what the real problem was is I had a deadly tumor that was highly unusual. And so when they saw the tumor, the size of the tumor, where it was and where it was going, they said, we have to tell you, you could die at any minute. And I thought, I didn't even believe that was possible. And I said, well, what can we do about that? And the doctor looked at me and said, well, that's the bad news. And I thought,
wow.
Uh-oh, so this is really serious. He recommended me getting my affairs in order immediately, not to waste time going to any hospital. He said, because they can't do anything for you anyway. He said, by the time they set up your surgery, you will probably already be dead. And he said, and you'll just be wasting time. He said, and if you do the surgery, you will probably not survive it. He said, he said, I've actually personally have not had one patient who survived a tumor like yours.
Whoa.
So that was shocking. And the beauty of that was I was completely, as you can all imagine, I've never heard of somebody being told that we're going to die at any minute. So I, for some reason, understood. He explained everything. He was really very patient, very kind, stopped all of the rest of his patients. And then I asked him, I said, could I have all my information? He said, sure. He said, not a problem. I'll give you copies. He said, but really, you can only go to Sloan Kettering in New York, or you can go to Hackensack in New Jersey. He said, there's no other hospital that can even handle you. And I have direct ability to send your files to them. I said, that's okay. Let me just have it anyway. And then I thought, well, why do I want those files? I had no idea. So I left the office, and I cannot tell you, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. And I was so happy to be out of the office. So I simply started walking to this beautiful park that was right in front of me. It was a little tiny parkway, and trees and children and everything. And all of a sudden it hit me, oh my God, anyone could die at any minute, anywhere, in the entire world.
Yes.
And I thought, but the only difference between them and me is I have this proof on these papers that I don't really know is true or not true, because I feel very well right now, but I'm being told I'm not going to be well. But how many of these people walking around don't know that they're not going to be at dinner tonight, that they will die or get hit by a car or have a heart attack or whatever? And I am telling you, that put me into a state of what I can only describe as bliss. Wow. I was completely blissed out. It was like God came down and gave me this great gift. And I can't even explain what the gift was, other than I felt completely at peace, and I felt like everything was fine. And I sat down on a park bench And I don't even know how long I was there. And finally, I thought about Anita Morjani, whom you know.
You're
And
right.
I'm not sure if everybody in the audience knows, but I was a big fan of Anita's. She had written a book called Dying to Be Me.
Right.
And she had put it out with Hay House Publishing. And she was a woman that was dying of end-stage cancer, in a coma, in a cancer hospital in Hong Kong, had a near-death experience, and miraculously came out of that experience and started to heal from her deadly cancer. And I thought, wow, Anita, if that could happen for Anita, and she was so deadly sick,
right.
She was on her deathbed. She had only about 40 minutes to live.
Yeah.
I thought, what can happen to me? Because I'm still walking.
Yeah.
I still feel, pretty good. I was losing a lot of weight, but I thought maybe there's something for me. And it was that just shifted everything. My whole life. I know. It's like my whole life completely spun around in an instant, in a complete and total instant. And once I lost fear, and I can only describe it as being fearless. I wasn't afraid of dying. I wasn't afraid of the cancer. I wasn't afraid of what was going to happen. It lifted from me, which is why I call my book Bliss, and it's one hero's journey. Because what I learned on that journey is that we are all heroes on our journey, marching forth on this planet, not just for ourselves, but also for others, and also for the planet itself, even for the entire galaxy. And that is what our purpose and our job is to really embody and embrace that. And I have to tell you, Cristina, I got it. And
you got it.
I got it big time. And here I was dying. I could die at any minute. And it was one of the most unbelievable, happiest, profound spirit experiences of my life. And right away from there, things started falling into place. I got home. I remembered something I had been told about Germany. I went up on the computer. I started looking for alternative cancer treatments. I found a magnificent center in Mexico, which was totally unexpected. I called them up. I was getting so excited. They did handle cancer.
Can we tell what it is? What is called this center?
Oh yes, the name of it's called Sano Vive, and Sano meaning healthy and Vive life, so healthy life. Yes. So Sano Vive, it's right across the border, not really only about 50 miles from San Diego, into Mexico. And I called them up, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we do deal with your tumors." They were very, very helpful. And then they said, "Oh, and by the way, do you have your medical records?" And I did. I had them. So I said, yes. So I was able to fax those over. They said, "Look, we have a treatment that may work. We're not saying we can save you. Yes, after they looked at all of my tests and everything, they said the doctor was correct. It's very dangerous. You could die at any minute. But we have a couple of secrets that we think will keep you alive. One of them is you must cut all processed sugar out of your diet immediately. Yeah. You must not eat anything that is processed, not meat, not anything, nothing." And then they said, and stick to that as best you can for the airplane ride, because the pressure could have also fractured the tumor as well. Wow. So I did everything they said, and I landed. And I had one of the most miraculous experiences at this fabulous center in Mexico, where they treated me like a king. Yeah. They took astounding care of me. I won't say it was all easy, because there were some bad moments. I mean, I was very ill. Yeah. I was losing a tremendous amount of weight, which was part of what they were doing, trying to starve the tumor. Not me, but starving the tumor. So they were only feeding me what the tumor didn't like.
Right.
And they were preparing me for the operation because they said the preparation into the operation is more important than the operation. Because if the preparation fails, the operation will fail and you will die. I did have to have a family member with me because they didn't want to be responsible for me if I did die during the surgery. So I was able to get a family member, my sister, to come down there with me. And as you all know, because you see me, it went great. And literally,
can we clap? Can we celebrate?
Yes, we can clap. We can clap. We can laugh. We can be, yeah. And I want to say that that clinic treats everything. So they don't just treat the body, they treat the mind, they treat the emotions, they treat the spirit. I had yoga classes. I had laughing yoga classes.
I was just that was gonna be one of my questions.
Yes.
You know, I'm a laughter wellness practitioner, and I believe that laughter has huge healing properties. So I want to know more about that. That's amazing.
It was one of my therapies. It was considered a therapy, a medical therapy. It was led by, the doctor who was of the psychology department led the laughter yoga.
Amazing.
I had to have psychological, as a matter of fact, my first appointment when I arrived was to be with a psychologist, the therapist.
Yes.
We talked about death. That was our first conversation.
Yeah.
They got right to the point. There was no time to waste, you know.
Yeah.
And again, we did all the physical things as well, but they didn't just see it as physical. No. They wanted to know about my mindset. They wanted to know about my mental state. They wanted all aspects. And they were just like saying, you're doing great. They never, first of all, they never call you a patient. You're always a guest. The facility looks like a spa. It doesn't look like a hospital. So you feel like you're on vacation.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Right. You never see anything medical. Nothing. Like when I first got there, I even was a little freaked out because there wasn't even medical, like not even an emergency kit, nothing. There was nothing. It just looks like a 4-star hotel. That's how it operates.
Lovely.
But everything is hidden. So your room service is the hospital staff, the nurses and doctors. Your front desk is actually a medical desk. All of your records are kept on file. Room service is actually the doctors. Or, they will have food brought up to you, but you can have a doctor at any point. I mean, they come so quickly. They're so wonderful. They take care of everything. You are not allowed any of your own clothing, nothing synthetic. They supply all clothing, all toiletries, all products. They don't want you near anything. I couldn't be near my phone even because as the cancer progressed, and as I got cleaner with the treatments, the electromagnetic was making me nauseous. So I couldn't actually do it.
It's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Then when my sister arrived, she was able to really help a lot and take care of my, other things going on in my life. And that surgery, we did have some problems just before the surgery. Things did not look good. I will say I didn't think I would really live, but I was becoming more and more excited about it. But I still really thought it would kill me. And I was told even in Mexico, it's a very, that you were told correctly, it's a very deadly situation.
Wow.
They said, but we just have a pre-surgical therapy that the States does not do. So we'll try it. If you're open to it, we'll try it. And I said, sure, why not? I'm going to die anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah.
So that was my journey. And I will tell you, I had a lot of resistance from friends and family.
Really?
Oh yeah, tremendous. Well, because see, especially here in the States, people hear Mexico and right away they think third world. You know, they want to build a wall around Mexico. I mean, they don't have a very good opinion of them scientifically or medically. I lost a lot of friends, a lot of people. So this wasn't all wonderful and perfect. There were people that said they would never speak to me again, and they never did. They never did. Okay.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Even when I got back, some of them did, but some of them did not. So that was kind of fascinating. There's still people that told me, they said, I think you're nuts and you're probably going to die anyway, because they couldn't have healed you. By the way, I never had chemotherapy. I never had radiation. I only had, they have a special serum that they make out there after my operation of the tumor that they took out of me. So what they do is they break down the tumor and then they re-injected me with a serum so that now I'm immune to ever getting that cancer again. So it cannot metastasize. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way. It's impossible. That serum does not exist here in the United States. It does exist though outside of the country. Mexico has it, Greece has it, Switzerland has it. There's a few places that do it, but they don't do it everywhere. Pardon?
You know if Italy has it?
I don't believe so, but I don't quote me on that. Somebody may have been, because people start to, you know, expand their minds. Remember, this happened nearly 5 years ago, so it'll be 5 years this August.
Wow.
25th. It'll be 5 years. Yeah.
And Gary, how do you feel now after 5 years?
Excellent. Even when I got back, I was back at work. It was only a total period of 6 weeks, and I was back working.
And you're clear of the cancer now.
Yep, totally clear.
Totally clear.
I've been checked here in the States 3 times. And the Mexico, they said, you don't have to really bother after the first 2 times. They said, but you can't get the cancer. They said it's impossible because of the serum.
Can we do a celebration, an Italian celebration?
Sure.
It goes like this, Gary, look. It goes like this. Mozzarella, mozzarella. Can we do it together?
Sí. Mozzarella, mozzarella. And I do believe my biggest salvation was my sense of humor. I always was staying very buoyant, and I was never afraid. Even if I would have died, I made friends with death.
Yes.
And I did that pretty quickly.
Wow.
And that released me.
Yeah.
And let my body and my everything heal.
Yeah.
And even the doctors in Mexico said that the tumor, the way it came out, he said, I couldn't have imagined it better. He said it came out like a baby. It didn't tear. It didn't spread. It did nothing. He said it was absolutely perfect. Because had it torn and had a particle gone up, it would have gone to my heart. The tumor, by the way, was going up towards my heart from the kidney through the renal vein up that passage toward the heart. And so, yes?
You literally are a miracle.
Literally are a miracle. And I will say I owe that to a lot of things, but Anita Morjani was one of my key components. She, her journey is so miraculous. Like Anita has no reason to be alive.
Right.
Like I had a surgery, you know, I did all this, but Anita has absolutely no reason to be alive. They were already starting her death certificate.
Wow.
Yeah, she was like, her family was told she only has another like 40 minutes or 45 minutes, something ridiculous. And she was in a coma. She was emaciated. She was completely unconscious. She had all of her organs were failing.
Incredible.
And she revived. And
You
she
know,
lectures all over the world.
what you're talking about, becoming friends with death, you know, is resonating with me in these times, because
Oh, yes.
I have been thinking about death a lot. And I'm thinking with this coronavirus, you know, and I'm thinking, well, you know, anybody can die of this anytime.
That's right.
That came to me.
That is right.
Right?
Yep.
It's a very vicious virus. We don't know how it transmutes. We don't know nothing about it. All I know is that people are dying, and I could be dying of it. I could be one of them. And so since I have accepted that, like, everything seems so much more brighter. And, you know, and when I go to the park and the birds are like, I enjoy the most stupidest, trivial things. And I'm thinking, you know what? And if I was to die now, it would be fine.
That's right. And really, if people really understood, it's always fine, because we never planned our births. We don't plan our lives. Our lives unfold in the weirdest of ways, way opposite of what we desire or want. And if they just accept that we have to go with the river and the way that the river of life is leading us,
I love it.
You are more joyous. And then there's no fear. You don't have anything to be afraid of.
Exactly.
And that is so freeing. It is the miracle. And when you're there, you will get miracles. I am living proof. I was there. I used to, when I was at Sanaviv, because we used to do the laughing yoga.
I'm so happy.
Sometimes we would go, because I was with all terminal people. We were all dying. Everybody in the whole dining room was dying. Some of them had like 2 months. Some of them had 6 months. I was the only one that had no months. I had nothing. And I am telling you, sometimes we would come into that dining room and we would start to crack up and just be so joyous. And, you know, and somebody's, you know, we would just make these jokes about, well, you know, I shouldn't eat anymore. It'll kill me. I said, well, what's the difference? You know, we would laugh and laugh. And I am telling you, it brought great comfort, even to the cases that did not work out well.
Yes.
Because remember, they do have people that do die.
Sure.
But they also have people that don't die, who are supposed to die. And I always thought, why go out of the planet terrified and afraid?
Yeah.
Even if it's the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say it can kill you in 5 minutes. Why do you want to go out terrified? Why do you want your last minutes to be a nightmare?
Go out laughing, right? Go out laughing.
That's right. Go out laughing, go out joyous, and embrace and accept. Because again, I don't really believe life stops after this. I think you just go into the next dimension. You go into the next level, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. And I am no longer, and I'm trying to help people with coronavirus, because, you know, it's in my experience with what I'm seeing, the people who are the most stressed, the most fearful, and the most depressed are the ones who are getting the most sick.
Sorry.
You know, I mean, that's so far. And me, I've been exposed to the coronavirus now, I know for sure 2 times. And another 2 people that I was exposed to, they were exposed to people that were also tested positive. So I was indirectly exposed to 4 people. Nothing. I've nothing has happened to me, you know. So, and if it did, it wouldn't bother me.
Right.
I'd be like, okay, we know a lot of people are not dying. We know there's many millions that are infected, but they're not dying. So we have to remember that this is a killer for some people, and they actually are confused as to why it kills some and it doesn't kill others. I mean, that's a mystery right now.
Yeah.
So we have to always take that in mind, in consideration.
Yes. Hey, Gary, I know that you're also an opera singer, right?
Yes. I was singing a lot of opera at that time of my diagnosis. As a matter of fact, I had to cancel a very big performance in Texas when this all occurred. And opera, I'm also a teacher. I also work as an Alexander technique teacher. So I had a very busy life, and it was a very hectic life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of my stress came from the fact that I was balancing too many things in one lifetime, and I was doing too much. And I think that's why I actually got into trouble, because usually I'm pretty healthy. But the 6 months leading up to my diagnosis, those were very stressful times. And I thought I was on top of the stress, but apparently I wasn't because, I got that cancer diagnosis. But I do believe it was the overwork and the overstress that led to my demise. Opera is a very demanding, it's a very demanding art form.
Mm-hmm.
It demands your entire body, physically, mentally, emotionally. And if you do know opera singers, you start to, when you look at them, they have two things in common. They either have a lot of health problems, or they have a lot of crazy problems. And they also die sometimes young, and sometimes of very weird things. Or they're overeaters because of the stress, or they're overdrinkers. Overdrinking is a very big thing in opera. And it was starting to catch up with me,
So I should be teaching laughter wellness to opera singers, right?
That is exactly correct. Yes.
Right?
Yes. And they have very good sense of humors. I mean, they really do. They can be wonderful people, but it is a very stressful world. The learning of material, producers are very mean, can be very mean, very demanding. Things are always last minute, right at the last minute. They're changing things all the time. So it's a rough business. When I came back, I did a few more operas, and then I did stop. I stopped in it was I think it was the end of 2017, just before 2018. I stopped.
So Gary, usually I say to my lovely people that join me on Zoom to stop at 15 minutes. We've gone beyond that, and I forgot.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, I forgot to actually do this, so I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The reason why I do that, it's because people have short attention span, and so, I want to be able to give the messages to everyone so they can follow it. But anyways, I think it was totally appropriate and worth it. And what I wanted to ask you actually an important question. When someone is sick and diseased, they have that victim role behavior.
Oh, yes.
How do we get out of that role that I'm sick, I need to be taken care of, I don't feel good, I can't do this? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. You must remember that the illness has come to help you grow. It is not an enemy. It is a dear, dear angelic friend that is coming to wake you up to something. And that is what people have to put into their minds. I am not the victim. I am being assisted toward a greater good. And I want to tell you, having written my book, I have now helped so many people. I have even people who are dying, I have helped. That I have changed I've helped them, I should say, to change their thinking around death, dying, and disease. Because remember, that's why the world is terrified right now. They are terrified of illness and dying. And that, let's face it, is going to happen to all of us.
All of us.
So the question is, how do you want to be a prisoner in your life and a victim of death and disease, or do you want to be free? And it's the only way to be free. That's right, freedom.
Shall we do a freedom laughter?
Yes, freedom laughter.
Okay, on 3, right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Freedom. That's exactly it.
Thank you, guys.
You are so welcome,
It's
Cristina.
been fun. I wish we could speak more, but we'll be friends. We'll connect.
Yes, and you can always invite me back.
Yeah, absolutely. And your website is, you want to share with the audience?
Yes, you can go to www.garyramsey.org or look for my book, Bliss, One Hero's Journey. It's from Joseph Campbell. He was a big believer in that. I love Joseph Campbell. So you can go and just Google search me. It'll come up.
Okay, fantastic. So your nugget of wisdom for the world in a few sentences.
One word: fearlessness. Fearlessness. To go forward unafraid, no matter what you are facing. That's it.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much.
All right.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Many blessings.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.